Hi, I'm Elisa,
Hi, I'm Trent, and welcome to Rise, Rinse, Repeat.
where we talk about life, love, and family.
Yes, that was new. It's a new intro. You gotta do it every time now.
I'm gonna forget, but that's okay.
It's okay.
All right. Well, welcome, guys. Today's podcast is going to be about toddlers and 2 kids, because that's where we're at
That's
right
where
now.
we're at, yeah. We're getting there. We should have, Althea should be born early, mid-April. So we just got a couple months left, and so we're kind of trying to prepare for that. Yeah. A lot's gonna change, but it's gonna be good.
Yeah. No, I mean, it will be. I've heard from like friends or other mamas and things like that, that some of the hardest things is going from having no kid at all to a kid. So at least you have some idea of what kids generally are going to go through and what they're like, but personalities are going to change. Personalities are going to be different. So yeah, that's something we'll get to. We're going to talk about and everything, but yeah, juggling 2 kids, I think is going to be really interesting.
It will be. Yeah, it'll be interesting how Avalyn takes it and how she just is, I know because she loves her little sister. I'm not 100% sure how much she knows, but she'll point to Elisa's belly and be sissy and, like, shh, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just when she's here, is she jealous or does she just absolutely love this little one or not? I know she will. It's just...
There's probably going to be moments of jealousy for sure.
Yeah, like, why are you holding Sissy? Why aren't you holding me?
Right. There's going to be things where she's going to have to learn to be more independent on certain things, but then there's going to be times where she can have that one-on-one attention that she still definitely needs, most definitely.
Yeah, no, I mean, as she's becoming a toddler, she's becoming way more opinionated. And she's like, no, this is the way I want it. And if that's not okay with you guys, then I'm going to throw a temper tantrum.
Right.
And so that's kind of at the stage we're going through, this toddler phase of it's all about her. She doesn't realize that anybody else has feelings or, it's all about her. It's what she wants, what's best for her, what she thinks is best for her. And yeah, it's just navigating that. Trying to be consistent, I think, is a big thing.
No, I think it definitely is. Like, I see a lot of her, like a lot of myself in her, and there's moments where I definitely see Trent and things like that. But again, like what I was talking about, kids have different personalities, so I am so curious in a good way, like, again, excited to see, this is who Avalyn is, and as she continues to get older, we're going to see more and more and more. And then Althea coming along, like, what is she going to be like? Because typically newborns, they don't quite have a personality. It's pretty
feed me, change me, hold me,
exactly,
let me sleep.
Exactly. But as they get older, they do start to develop that kind of stuff. And so I'm just so curious how similar they're going to be, because they are going to be siblings, so they'll be similar, but how different they're going to be, and the adjustments that I, as a mother, am going to have to also make, especially in the form of like punishments, because punishments, that sounds so, discipline, I like that word better, because not all discipline can be the same, especially if your kids have different personalities. But I still believe that both kids should be held to the same responsibilities, the same respect levels, and obviously they're going to get the same love and care. That's all going to be the same. The expectations are going to be
the same. Yeah.
And stuff. But getting to those expectations, or getting to the responsible things done, the respect, all that, it's going to look different based on their personality.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of feeling it out and trying to remember that, these 2 little girls are not the same. 2 different people, 2 different personalities, 2 different
They might do some
approaches.
Things that are similar. Like, they're definitely going through the toddler stage. They're definitely going to challenge us.
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely going to be attitude and things.
But is Althea going to be less stubborn than Avalyn? And how does that change our approach? It could be like, we tell you once and then you get it and you learn, while your sister doesn't.
Well, that was me and my sister. I was the oldest. I am the oldest. And my sister told my mom, I learned from Sissy's mistakes. So she didn't get in trouble as much because she learned. And so it kind of sucks sometimes, you know, being the oldest, or you're the experimental child. You're the one that sometimes you feel like overlooked, or you feel like things aren't fair. There's other things like that that come into play. And so I think we've got a good balance because Trent was the second born. So I think coming from our perspective, we're going to have a good balance between each other of, I'm going to understand things of Avalon, and I might miss some things with Althea, and that's where he might be able to step in and explain it to me. Same with my sister. She's going to, since she's second born, but also technically the baby, whenever we are done having children, she's going to be able to offer me advice, just like I've been able to offer her advice on my niece, because Doxon is like, there's sometimes I don't understand, and then it's like, oh my word, this is more like Elisa, more like me. So it's just, it is. Parenting is an adventure.
Yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot. It really is. Like, I'm sure Avalon's gonna, if she hears this, something like, what? You're just like guessing? Like, well, kind of. You're just kind of feeling it out, and you're gonna get stuff wrong, and you have to give yourself grace. You have to give your child grace, and just try to do better every single day.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you definitely have to be willing to apologize to your kid, just like you're willing to apologize to your spouse or yourself, or to apologize to God. Like, you've got to own up to when you make a mistake, even as a parent, because in my opinion, the biggest thing here is you do not want to give your kids the illusion that you are perfect, because that's going to set the tone for these unreachable expectations for them. You've got to show them that, look, I'm human too. I'm imperfect too. I sin. I make mistakes, even when it comes to discipline or talking to you or misunderstanding you. And you got to own, as a parent, I believe, to that. Even with a toddler. Like, you know,
yeah,
the rage.
They do. They pick up more things than you think, quicker than you think they do. So it's just always getting that habit, instead of being like, oh, someday when Avalon actually understands, then I'll start apologizing to her. It's like, no, you lose your temper when she's 6 months old or something. Althea, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said fine, or, you know, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just getting that habit of doing it right away, rather than waiting until you think, or they're talking back to you, and by that point it's just too late.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. And so I agree with you, even at a young age. That's why I'm saying you should have expectations for your kids. You should have ways that you believe that in responsibilities, the respect level that you are going to demand from them, but also, you know, teaching them the respect that God also asks of us as followers of Christ, but also as, you know, children to your parents. It's a commandment. Why can I not think of it? Honor your mother and father, right?
This is the first commandment of the promise.
There you go.
That
Yes.
it may go well with you and you live long in the land the Lord has given you.
He's a lot better at remembering that stuff than I. But yeah, so like, you know, the care, the love, those are all going to be the same. But like, I look at Avalon, and I feel like she's going to learn a lot more like Trent learned. And Trent, all of his siblings were homeschooled, but that really helped Trent being homeschooled. I did decent, you know, in public school. I did a lot better when I was homeschooled for a few years. And Althea, she could maybe be like more like me and thrive, but like not want to thrive because it's not that great. I did not like school. But she could kill it and do really well. And again, so you have different approaches to teaching, where I might have to be a little bit more like on her with this, and Avalon's a little bit more free-flowing. But it's explaining that to your children. When they ask you why, it's like that home improvement moment. When Jill is punishing Randy for Brad's car accident, remember that, the mistake?
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, you can't drive when it's dark outside. Like, and Randy takes the car, but he brings it back and he apologizes and blah, blah, blah. Well, she only grounds him for like a week, whereas Brad, because he ran into a pole, lied about it, was going to try to cover it all up, he was grounded for like a month or something. He goes, that's not fair. And Jill just goes, no, it is fair because it depends on the level of the situation. It depends on what happened, how you handled it, how you responded. There's a lot that comes into play when there's discipline or consequences to those actions. No matter the age, honestly. I don't think you can solve everything with a spanking. I don't think you can solve everything with a timeout. And I don't think you can solve everything by not doing anything at all.
But it's all situational.
Yeah.
But you also can't punish one kid for something the other kid did. And what I mean by that is if Evelyn, because I think in that scenario you're talking about, Brad ran the car, but then his mom wouldn't let Randy drive at all at night. And so you're punishing one kid for the other kid's mistake. Like, no, you can't drive at night because your brother messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, no, this is a new kid. They could make the same mistake and do that, but you have to let them make it.
Yeah, no, that's true. What do you think? Like, how do you think about letting your kids make mistakes even though you know they're gonna make it, or you don't want them to make it? Like, how do you feel about that?
I'll let them. I mean, Evelyn did that tonight. She kept climbing up on the chair, and I told her not to. And I said, if you climb up on this chair, this is what's going to happen to you. And she climbed up on the chair and made the mistake. I was like, okay, well, this is what happened. And so I think that's more valuable than like, nope, I'm just removing you from the situation, or protecting your kids so much that they don't ever get that life experience and they get out there and all of a sudden like, wait, what's going on? This isn't how I grew up. Mom and dad always protected me.
Right, so they're sidelined, or they're like caught off guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that's when they make a huge mistake, when the consequences are way higher. Here in a controlled environment, they're a lot less. And as they get older, the consequences get more and more because the stakes get higher and higher.
Yeah.
More responsibility, the more power they have. Yeah, the more you hope you did the right thing in the beginning, when it's just climbing on a chair.
No, I mean, that's true. That's kind of goes into, I'm just going to mention this Instagram account that I follow called Redeemed Mama, and she posts a lot of things. They're super amazing, but the one that I saw today was kind of like this, like with mistakes. Like the biggest thing that that she was saying that culture teaches our children, if we're not careful, is, you know what, I'm going to get it wrong here. I want to make sure I don't get this wrong.
Okay.
So, let me look it up really quick. Sorry, guys.
I also think kids nowadays have it a lot harder than we did, because we didn't have social media. We didn't have these things that, depending on how many followers you have, or if it goes viral, you don't have a lot of control over that a lot of times. But all of a sudden, you make one mistake and your life is ruined. Or you give an opinion and some troll takes that and blows it up, and you just feel absolutely, you just get attacked for it. There's no childhood. There's no room to grow and develop.
Yeah. No, that's true. That actually leads into another point that I was going to mention, but before I do that, because I'm going to spin off, it's still the same thing. Redeemed Mama, cultural lie debunked. Do what makes you happy. You are worth it. Have you ever heard anyone say this to you? Have you ever said that to anyone? It was unsettling to her. Basically, she wraps this back to biblical. It's not a biblical principle. God says he will give us the desires of our hearts when we delight ourselves in the Lord and when we commit our ways to him. This is completely different. One puts us in the driver's seat. The other one puts us in the passenger seat. And so it's teaching your kids that, like, yeah, I want my kids to aim for their dreams, but sometimes most dreams are selfish. And so you've got to look at, is this a dream that has been placed upon me as God's calling, or is just something that I want. And again, God gives us that free choice, that free will, just like they're going to give your kids. You're going to give your kids a free choice, but sometimes you can give them choices that you've already approved of. And sometimes God does the same thing with us. These are choices I've already approved of, picked on. Now we can turn right around and be like, psh, I don't want any of these. I'm making my own and I'm making bad mistakes, and we're just going to have to put up with it. But I don't know, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that goes to kind of the I love you just the way you are. And that's great. Like, you want your kids to be unique and individual, but they have to be curbed. They can't just do whatever they feel like. So it is loving your kids unconditionally, but also being like, most people aren't going to love you if you treat people like this. If you treat people like crap, you're going to get treated like crap, and you're going to have a harder life.
No, I mean, yeah, that's true. Not to be with the golden rule, what comes around goes around. Like, there are things like that. We might not always see certain people that have treated us poorly, like what God might bring them to or redeem them to or change. We might not always be there for that, but that definitely happens. Yes, loving your kids. I love you the way that you are, because God made them that way, but you want to see them keep growing. It was interesting. I actually talked about this in our mom's group, and I wish I had my notes in front of me for that, because that basically we talked about that as like, oh, I love you the way that you are. There were a couple moms in that class that had different opinions on it, but my opinion on that was it's encouraging, I think, for women to hear, you love me the way that I am. I don't need to change because society says I don't fit into this box or this mold, or I don't look like this, that, or the other. So you can start there. I love you the way that you are. You don't need a nip tucker. You don't need to be tanner. You don't need to be whiter. You don't need to, whatever the situation is, right? God made you this way, and you are beautiful. You're amazing. But there's room to grow. I love you so much today, but I'm gonna love you more tomorrow. Why? Or why am I gonna love you more tomorrow? Because you're gonna grow. You're gonna make new choices that are either good or bad, and it's gonna take you places, and such. And so it's, they have to definitely know that they are loved, so they've got that. Because I think one of the biggest lies that the enemy can tell our kids, can tell us as adults, is there's something wrong with the way that you look. So he or she or your parents or that silly 16-year-old boy would love you more if you looked like this. Or it gets wrapped in an imagery and saying, okay, I love you the way that you are, but expand on that. I love your heart, the beauty on the inside. I love, physical appearance because blah, 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 blah. And it's hard to do that with a toddler. So you've got to start small. You've got to start somewhere and then start building as they get older. It's a stepping stone.
Yeah, I mean, there's levels to it. You don't just dump this on them when they first learn how to talk and have no idea what you're saying. It's just going to confuse them and worry them, and they don't need to worry about that. But these are the things as, like, when they're growing up, when they're hitting puberty and growing, these are the kind of things you have to talk about.
Yeah.
How do we get on this when we started off with toddlers and 2 kids?
I don't know, but I like where it went, but we'll get back to
that in a second.
Because you said the internet thing, and so when you said internet, I was just going to say Tim Ross. I liked this. This is just a little tagline. Lead your kids or the internet will.
Yes.
That's it. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Okay, I agree with that. I was going to say to that last point, God created this reality, and so there is a right and a wrong way to live it. There is a healthy and an unhealthy way to live it. And I don't want you to love me for how I am. I want you to love me because I can do better. Because I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. I don't want you to oh, you're good enough as you are. Keep making these mistakes. You're still great and amazing. You're great. Like, no. I want to be better. I want to become better. I want to grow. I don't want to be stuck and stagnant. And so I think that's part of where it is. Like, yeah, I'm going to love you when you make a mistake, but I don't love you when you keep making the same mistake over and over and over and over and over again. Like there has to be some kind of growth, some kind of give and take.
It's an honesty thing, where you have to be honest with your kids, and you have to be honest with your spouse, but being honest with your toddler, like, okay, let's say this happened tonight. This is a real case scenario. Evelyn got one of my essential oils. She knows she's not supposed to play with. She knows that they're no, can't touch. Somehow she got one. She came in and showed me. I was like, oh, hand me that. You're not supposed to have that. I mean, I thought it was going to shatter, but it didn't, praise God. But it shattered, or it didn't shatter, and she threw it on the ground. And I mean, my tone, I've learned, if I would have just been like, Evelyn, no. What? You're not supposed to throw that? She literally, because again, I know her because she literally is me. Would have looked at me and like it would have gone in one ear and out the other. So my whole chain, pick that up right now. You know, just firm, like, and it sounds like I'm yelling. I wasn't yelling. I just like firm voice, firm motion. Pick it up right now. Hand it to me. You do not throw this. Sit right there, please. I need to clean this up. You made a mess. And I didn't want her getting the oil and it getting in her eyes and blah, all this chaos, right? All that to say, we finished it up and everything. And I still said, okay, remember, mommy loves you. I love you. I always, it's a full circle. If there's any type of discipline or any type of like, no, negative instruction given or anything like that, you have to come full circle. The parent that did the discipline, you have to come full circle and tell your kid or kids you love them. However, this was not acceptable because blah, 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 blah. I always end it, this is my personal thing, I always end it on a positive. I love you, though. Regardless of this mistake you just made, I love you. Let's make better decisions from here on out. And when she does, and she'll tell me, because her newest thing is when she knows she's not supposed to do it, she'll look at it and go, no. And I'm like, yes, I'm so proud of you. Good job, sir. That's right. That is a no. Good job. Sometimes we high five, sometimes we hug, sometimes we laugh. Because you can't just always focus on the negatives either with toddlers and bringing them up. You have to also reinforce the positives so they know that, oh, I did something good for mama. I did something good for dada. And they're proud of it.
It's the metaphor of the carrot and the stick. You can't just have the stick. You also have to have the reward.
Oh, okay.
So
the carrot and the stick. I don't know that.
Yeah. No. You doing okay?
Kind of. Yeah, I'm okay. She's like.
Yeah, you need both. You need both positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. I think that's actually the wrong term.
It might be.
You need discipline, and then you need encouragement and praise.
Yes, there you go.
Yes.
Those are better terms. I know what you're saying.
I know, but I think it's wrong, and it's like a double negative or something, and I have to think about it. But
yeah,
I don't have
know
time to do that right now. So it is. It's giving them praise. It's giving them more opportunities to put what she just learned into context.
Because she can learn good or bad lessons from a TV show or whatever, but you can't let the TV or the game or just life teach them. You have to be there to teach your kids. You have to be there to show them what is right and what is wrong. And each parent has a different view on it. This is our view on what we think is right or wrong. Yeah.
You also do it by example.
Yeah.
Because if she's you just dumping the oil out, then of course she's like, wait, but mommy just said I can't do that. And so eventually she's going to get to the point where she's going to put all that stuff together. I can't do this. Mommy can do this. And stuff will start clicking. It's just right now, I'll bring it back to she's a toddler. So you have to be a little bit more strict. You can't explain the nuance of, oh, Evelyn, here, you come help me pour the oil into the diffuser. It's like, no, right now it's just no oil.
You can't touch it because you'll get it in your eyes.
It's just a no. Because it's not worth it. But eventually we'll be like, hey, Evelyn, can you go put some peppermint in the diffuser? Oh, sure. Like, yeah, of course, when she's there, she's there. But we're here with the toddler. We're getting ready for 2 kids, which is going to be overwhelming and a lot. Get ready to go back to little sleep. Evelyn hasn't actually slept through the night in a while. She does this little fussy thing where she knocks her blanket off, and so she's cold, and she doesn't know how to pull the blanket back on yet.
We're still trying to teach that. Still trying to learn that concept. Yeah.
So it's not like I'm super used to just sleeping through the night again. That when Althea is here, it's going to be like a rude awakening. It's just going to be a little less. But those 2 weeks off will be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Having your parents here will be nice. It'll be a nice month transition of getting things kind of back in order and kind of organizing your head and being like, okay, these are the new expectations. Because sometimes when you have those expectations and then something just comes along and shatters them, that's when you get upset so much. I think that happened to Elisa this week. She had this expectation of just being able to drive to mom's group and the car didn't start. And I think if you had just been here with Evelyn and you're like, hey, you just want to go out, and the car didn't start, I don't think it would have been as big of a deal as you already having that expectation to begin with. Yes, no?
I mean, maybe, yeah. I don't know, because it was a different, I don't know if it was just honestly, like that whole kind of experience, I don't think it was, you can just slap a simple word on it and label it as just as an expectation. Probably just because being currently pregnant and dealing with a toddler, there's a lot of hormones that sometimes you cannot control, and you literally just feel like a crazy person. And with her growing and entering these stages that require a lot of energy, there's less room, there's more being demanded of me and my body, and her hormones mixing with my hormones, and blah blah blah. There's all of this stuff. I think it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I think there was a lot of other things that happened that earlier in the week, and then this was just the
icing on the cake.
I'm gonna like flip the car Hulk mode, like just, yeah, this just, it just felt like too much, and stuff. Because yeah, and the reality of it, when you come down from feeling that way, you're like, oh yeah, that really wasn't that big of a deal. But in the moment it was, because it wasn't just that reason. It was like A through Z, a list of things of what that happened. But just like we have feelings as women, and our hormones get the best of us, and just things like that seem to happen. We have to also help our kids understand their feelings and how to react. And again, you do that by example. Well, I made a mistake, okay? I'm not even gonna lie. I made a mistake. And I lost it. And my toddler saw that. And I had to apologize. I didn't take it out on her or anything like that, but she's just seeing me like hysterically cry. She's like, something's wrong with mommy. She's trying to like comfort me. I'm trying to get myself under control, because I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous. I start coming in tune with everything, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of silly. What's going on? I don't know. And all that just to be said, like, she feels the same way. She gets major emotions that require me to be patient and loving and kind and understanding, and things like that. And so, she requires the same thing. Sorry, I hit this. That was my fault. I hit it and I didn't mean to. Oop, because I did that.
Yeah, it's leading by example. It does more when they're older and they kind of understand what's going on. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, you don't know when they start picking up on that. So you always live it out as much as you can and as imperfectly as you can.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, exactly. Yep, yes. I called my sister. She's also a stay-at-home mom. And so, there's people you can lean on, but there's also fellow women who just experience like just frustration and anger. And they just experience like, oh, this is frustrating. This is hard, whatever it is. So yeah, that's kind of like what that was. But when Evelyn, being a toddler, has her tantrums, there's a time and a place where I let her have them and I just walk away. And there's a time and a place then where she could hurt herself, so I'm stopping. If they whack their head or what you don't want them to, or they're striking out at you, and so there has to be discipline. But there has to be ways too of like, I'm going to get on their level. I'm going to say, and I think we've talked about this in other previous episodes as well, like just randomly like parenting styles and, or, just parenting in general and how it's going. But I've really realized that, her feelings in that moment are valid. Just like when I'm having those intense moments, my feelings in that moment are valid. However, we cannot sit in them and stay there. We have to keep working through the feelings to come to the logic and then rational conclusion of we've solved it, we figured it out, we learned something, or we learned what we were supposed to do or not supposed to do, and then, there it is. And sometimes their intense feelings are directed at us, and we have to learn to control our feelings as well. And we can't always take it personally or purposefully that our toddler isn't, for example, like Alan was taking forever to say mama. And it hurt. I'm not going to lie. It totally hurt my feelings. And then I talked to my sister about it, and she 100% understood because her daughter did the same thing. It was da, 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 da. Even at this older age. And my sister just simply explained to me something that she learned, and it's connected to psychology. She goes, I read an article. They don't say mama because they don't see you as separated. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, they identify with you as mama. You and her are mama because she grew inside of you for 9 months. She's so personally connected to you. She knows this is Dada because Dad has always been separate. He's always been a different being, a different person. And when she explained it to me, my eyes, like, I swear, like, they opened. I was like, oh, and I'm not kidding you. It was like a month later. It kept working on it. Who am I? And you're Evelyn. It kept working. She now says mama.
More than Dada.
More than Dada sometimes. And it brings joy to my heart. It really does. Sometimes I feel bad and I'm like, no, go to Dada because mama's going to go to the bathroom by herself because Dada's home. But like, we have to remember as stay-at-home moms or just parents in general, we cannot sometimes take what, like, their attitude or whatever they're feeling personally. Sorry, I had to fix my shirt.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to do that for a little bit when you get home, but eventually it does. You can take that stuff personally. Like, oh, she's trying to make me mad, and she never is. She just has no idea what she's doing. I guess I try to always attribute to. It's not malice. It's always she's no idea what's going on. She's like, no, this is just how I feel. So instead of being like, no, you're pushing my buttons on purpose. She's like, no, your buttons are just getting pushed because this is what I want to do right now.
And I mean, sometimes they do know, oh, this really gets under mom's skin, or this really gets under Dada's skin, so I'm gonna.
I think we're getting there.
No, there's
toddler.
Getting there, yeah. But it's keeping your cool. You cannot stoop to their level. It's so hard because you want to, because you're human. You make mistakes, but then that's when you'd have to apologize. You'd have to, own to your mistake as well. But you do not want to stoop to their level. You want to lead by the example, and that's harder said than done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
Okay, I think that's probably it. At least in our. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say one thing that you said a long time ago when you were talking about her sleeping and still waking up. That made me think of this. That's why I put it in here. Another Instagram account that I follow, My Connected Motherhood. She was talking about sleep regression. Everything is labeled as sleep regression. They even have that at this stage, especially because Abby is getting those toddler molars.
Yeah. She
said this perfect, and I agree with it. Sleep regression, what it really means is, instead of looking at sleep regression, oh, this sucks, it's so hard, I'm constantly awake, she's struggling. You think of it in a positive, you just twist it and go, look at all the brain development and bodily development that is happening in this time. It's the brain. What causes the disruption is because there's new nerves and new things connecting in their little bodies, moving to them to the next stage, including maybe teeth moving up and down and it being painful. So she says, don't get upset. Twist it, look at it in a different light, and look at it as something positive and beautiful. Don't get upset. That's all I was going to add to that.
Well, I think something you remind me a lot is, hey, babe, she's not always going to want you to hold her. She's going to grow up. So when you get up, and it's so hard. I still don't do it all the time. I don't do it a lot of the time. But like, in 5 years, I'm not going to be able to go into her room at all at night. And it'll be nice and I can sleep. But right now, she needs me. That's what it is. She
might be longer than 5 years, but you know.
I mean, this regularly is what I'm saying.
Well, okay.
Like, if she has a nightmare, maybe. But like, as a kid, I never had nightmares, so I don't know how that one's gonna be.
Oh, I would have bad dreams, and I sleptwalked. I was a weirdo.
Yeah. So if that happens, we'll deal with it when we get there. I'm just saying, if I have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and literally walk in there and just pull her blanket up over her and then walk back out, just be like, man, I'm not always gonna have this.
Yeah.
And so enjoy it while you got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even the toddler temper tantrums, because
Yeah.
try to find the humor in them. Don't laugh and make your kids feel bad.
Right.
But just if you can get your adult perspective around it, like, oh my gosh, I asked her to hand me this chapstick back, and now she's on the floor like kicking and screaming. You can just smile, let her feel it. And Abby.
Or insert your kid's name here.
No, it's always Abby. But yeah, so enjoy what it is. Same when you have another newborn. Enjoy the stage you have, because it's going to be gone soon. I already feel like that with Evelyn. Like, little pictures of her as an infant come up on the TV. And you're like, oh my gosh, you are so tiny.
Yeah.
And now you look at her and she's saying, no.
It's so cute.
When she tries to grab your water for the 5th time, and you're like, Evelyn, I don't want water. And she's being sweet. She's trying to give me water, but I don't want any water right now. I'm not gonna fake it right now.
She loves.
You don't have to touch my water right now.
She loves so big and shares and is constantly always looking out for everyone. She'll put herself on the back burner to do that. And so sometimes I have to say, Evelyn, take care of yourself. Do that. Not all the time, but sometimes she's in those moments. And so I'm seeing those glimpses of her personality of like, it's okay to not do that. And you play with the toy, or you take care of yourself, and mom is okay, or dad is okay. But yes, I mean, it's a joyous thing. It's amazing, but it goes by so quickly. And I think you've been doing better. He's not the most pleasant wake up person. When he wakes up, he's kind of confused and he's kind of like, what's going on?
It depends on what cycle I'm in.
Right. I mean, again, he was great when Evelyn was a newborn. There were some moments, because you could just tell he was really tired, that he goes, why is she not sleeping? Or what, you know. The frustrations definitely get there for either parent. I think God blesses mamas a little bit more because of that nurturing side, but you kept growing, you kept trying again to get better. You weren't trying to make the same mistake and say the same thing over and over. No, you were growing and you were learning, like you were talking about earlier. But yeah, it's just something that, you just gotta, you just slowly figure out that it happens really quickly.
Yeah.
You're good.
That's
doing
all.
great.
Like, that's it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening to Toddlers and 2 Kids. We also had some other fun little things in there. There's probably going to be a part 2 because we had some more notes on here, and I think Trent wrote some notes.
I already talked about wrote some note down.
Oh, okay. Well, he might have some more. I have some questions that I wanted to ask him, but we're not going to do it in this. We're going to wrap up because it's another
40-minute episode.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, though. It was really fun to talk about and mention, and just, we're all just trying to figure this out. Speaking of which,
There she is. She needs her blanket back on.
okay. Do you want me to go and I can close? You can close this, and I can go check on her.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Thanks everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back again at some point. We're still not on a schedule, so we'll figure it out. I think weekly's pretty good. That's at least what we aim for. We'll aim for weekly. So we'll see you guys here next week, hopefully. And just have fun. Have a great week. Bye.